Age of Empires is a series of computer video games and portable consoles developed by Ensemble Studios and published by Microsoft. The first title in the series was Age of Empires, released in 1997. After him, 6 other major franchise titles and 4 derivative securities were released. Most of the series is formed by the real-time strategy genre, and its game modes boil down to 2 main styles, random map and campaign. In addition to the genre, the games in the series are characterized by marking historical events and many other surprises. The dynamics of the game is to choose a civilization and evolve it to the point of subjugating the opponent's civilizations, thus having to evolve several points of your city, captaining resources and improving its armies, until the moment of challenging the opponent's civilization. Its main characteristics are historical elements. The stages of development of the Age of Empires series were similar in many respects. Being the game based on historical events, the team often had to do a lot of research. However, the research was not deepened. According to designer Bruce Shelley, this is not a good idea for most entertainment products. Shelley also said that Ensemble Studios picks up most of the reference material in the children's bookstore sections. He stated that the goal of the game is to make players have fun, not their designers or consultants. According to Bruce, the success of the series is based on making a game that pleases both casual and hardcore gamers. Shelley also stated that the games in the Age of Empires series are not about the story itself, but about human experience. They focus not simply on what humans did but what they could do in the future, such as traveling into space. Ensemble Studios developed Age of Mythology in a different way from the previous 2 games. The team was concerned about not getting good results with a third story-based game and, after discussing several alternatives, chose mythology as the basis of the plot. Artificial intelligence used in the Age of Empires series has been developed and constantly improved by designers. AI expert Dave Pottinger pointed out that the development team gave a high priority to AI in the original game, and spent more than a year working on it. He has stated instead of codes that offer bonuses and advantages, or by adjusting their units to be stronger than normal. Pottinger later said the series team prides itself on its AI playing a fair game. They also gave priority to the artificial intelligence of the conquerors, resulting in smarter villagers, which became very popular in subsequent games in the series. After building a structure that holds or produces resources, smart villagers begin collecting structure-related resources, such as harvesting on the farm or mining rocks and gold mines. In the Titans, the player can modify the AI when creating custom scenarios, making them react to certain standards. Music. Stephen Rippey has been the series' music director since the first game. Occasionally he received the help of his brother David Rippey, as well as Kevin McMullen. Rippey created the original song of Age of Empires with sounds of instruments from the time the game takes place, coming from real instruments and their respective digital samples. The songs were the result of intense research in the cultures, styles, and instruments used at the time of the plot. Rippey states that the development of the soundtrack in the Age of Kings was easier because he was aware of the instruments used in the Middle Ages. So they were able to produce the songs from the game's soundtrack. In Age of Mythology, an instrumental orchestra was used. According to McMullen, the team collected a large number of sound recordings from zoos and created a gigantic musical library of its own material. The soundtrack to Age of Empires 3 was similar to that of the Age of Kings, using more instruments. Rippey highlights the use of instruments such as bagpipes and field drums to give a realistic touch. Collaboration. Ensemble Studios worked closely with the company Big Huge Games to develop the Asian Dynasties. This was the first time the two teams worked together. The company's compatible calendar was the motivator. Ensemble Studios was busy with other projects, especially Halo Wars, while Big Huge Games' real-time strategy development team was working on only a few projects. Big Huge Games did most of the work, but designers Greg Street and Sandy Peterson of Ensemble Studios joined in the design phase of the ideas and had control over the final product. It was up to the two studios to test the game before its release. The first two titles in the series focus on events that occurred in Europe, Asia, and Africa from the Stone Age to classical antiquity, the game being Age of Empires based on the ancient wars in the West and the East during the four ages of antiquity: Stone Age, Polished Stone Age, called in the Tool Age game, Bronze Age and Iron Age, and its expansion pack The Rise of Rome based on the formation and expansion of the Roman Empire. Other games directly related to the series were also created. Between the release of The Conquerors and Age of Empires 3, Ensemble Studios released the game Age of Mythology, and later the expansion pack The Titans. Age of Mythology uses the same elements of Age of Empires, but with Greek, Egyptian, and Norse mythology as the theme. For the Nintendo DS console, Age of Empires, The Age of Kings, and the sequel Age of Empires, Mythologies were developed. However, the latter two were not developed by Ensemble Studios, but by Backbone Entertainment and Kryptonite Games, respectively. The two newer versions were based on online multiplayer, Age of Empires Online and Age of Empires, Castle Siege. The Age of Empires series was considered a commercial success, selling over 15 million copies. The popularity and quality of the games has given Ensemble Studios a great reputation in real-time strategy games. In the production of Age of Empires 3, The Asian Dynasties, she collaborated with the company Big Huge Games. The criticism received credited the success for the historical theme and gameplay equally for the fact that artificial intelligence players fight without codes, which usually does not happen in other competing series. On August 21, 2017, Age of Empires 4 was announced. In 2018, Age of Empires Definitive Edition was released. It is precisely this package that the player finds in Age of Empires Definitive Edition, remastered version of the game that has as main attraction the visual, which reaches the resolution 4K. The graphics are the main novelty, since spending hours commanding villagers and soldiers, building structures, and facing opponents brings a great sense of nostalgia and familiarity. Thanks for watching, and give me a support with your registration and clicking on the liked.